I radioed my tech and I said, pull the plug right now. But what they were all scared about was this beautiful $1 zillion chandelier shaking and coming down. So that's the risk that I had to take to have Liam Gallagher on stage. My parents came from, obviously we were born in India, but then we moved to Africa. So our second generations were all in Africa, in Nairobi. I had some problems in Africa, so then we moved. England was very, very kind to us. So we got shipped into England. And then, usual story, no money, what we're going to do, start working in factories. My dad started working for GPO back in the day, climbing the monkey poles and stuff. And then off they went. And then they basically had jobs. Then they bought their first shop, a corner shop, like most Indians did. And then we bought another corner shop and we carried on in that way. We started a sort of flower and balloon business from our shops, which were card shops and post offices. So we moved that business home, the flower and balloon business, and we started doing weddings. And that's how we really started our whole career in weddings after that. And it was probably 1991. So I was brought up in a very white community. There wasn't many Indians or Asians or brown people around where I was. And we had a lot of Jewish mates, a lot of English mates. So we attended some of the sort of Indian weddings as we did, as family weddings and stuff in Leicester or in London. They were just really big mess of people. It was like you're in a community hall or you're in a sports hall. There'll be a canopy in the corner where they'll get married, sort of theatre style seating, and then we'll have like a buffet lunch and everyone would go home. And it'd be more like a village gathering of about 500 to 700 or 800 people. What we were doing was decorating weddings. So we were decorating a lot of Jewish weddings. We were decorating a lot of English weddings, which were really cool, but they were a lot smaller. So we had like 10 tables, 15 tables, 11 tables. So we were doing about, I think in the early 90s, we started doing about 10, 11 weddings a weekend where we'd put flowers and balloons on the tables and things and decorate them and then go. So that's all we did really. So our whole education came more from the Western side of the wedding market rather than sort of the Asian side of the wedding market. There was a big evolution with Asian weddings where it started off in sort of community halls, sports halls, then went into town halls. From town halls, they started nibbling into hotels. These were like the posher Asian weddings. So a lot of the big Pakistani weddings, a lot of the big Indian weddings in Manchester started going into hotels. So there was a hotel in Manchester called the Piccadilly Hotel, and the ballroom used to accommodate 700 people. So we used to have a contract with Joe Azzopardi, who was the general manager there, and he was the events guy and ran it. So we'd have a big Indian wedding on there or a Pakistani wedding, and we would go there and decorate it and then do one because that's all we wanted to do. And then he did a wedding. He did a few of these, and I think on one of the I think his third Indian wedding or Pakistani wedding he did. He gave us a call around about 3-4 o'clock in the afternoon, screaming down the phone, saying, "Oh my God!" He says they're everywhere. So we're like, "What?" My mum's like, "What's wrong? What's happened?" He goes, "They're in the kitchen." He goes, "There's bones under the table, and there's nappies everywhere, and there must be about 2,000 people here." He goes, "I just don't know what to do. It's complete chaos." And he goes, "There's cutlery and crockery trying to be washed, and there's no waitresses here. The boys are serving the food." He goes, "It's just an absolute sham." This is 1992. So mum goes, all right. Please come down. So I'm sat there in my pajamas on a Saturday afternoon, probably watching Match of the Day or something, like chilled out. I've done my work in the morning. Mum goes, "Right, come on, lad, get your trousers on. We're going to the Piccadilly Hotel." So my mum walked in like, I don't know, like Superman. We sort of went into this place and it was carnage. I can't explain to you. There was 2,000 people in the Piccadilly. There were just people serving each other. There was people putting food in bags. There was people with babies in the corners. It was just carnage. Went there. We didn't understand what we were doing, although he saw us being brown. So he probably just presumed that because we were the same colour, we understood what was going on. But we blagged it a little bit. We're like, oh, okay. Mum spoke the language, which was great. She spoke Urdu. We managed to settle this event down. We managed to get to the bottom of it and nail this event. Not really nail it. We managed to keep the hotel intact, keep the kitchen as clean as we possibly could. They might have nicked a load of utensils out of the kitchen. I ain't got no idea, but it was carnage. So we sat down with Joe Azzopardi at the end. The event finished at 7:00, thank God, because they're normally daytime events. And all these people had disappeared, and there was just carnage all over the floor, and the kitchen was just a total mess. And he goes, "Oh my God," he goes, "I can't do that ever again." He goes, "Mrs. Somaiya, you need to help me with these weddings." So we're like, he goes, "What do you mean?" He goes, "I got 10 of these every Sunday or 2 every month." And he goes, "I'm not doing them." He goes, "I'm going to pay you to do them. You please look after them." Because I'll give you £250 a wedding and you come and organise these weddings because I ain't doing them. So we're like, nice. To cut a long story short, we ran Joe Azzopardi's place, the Piccadilly Hotel, for many years after that. And Mrs. Somaiya, my mum, became the head honcho, really, of all these weddings and all the weddings in hotels. So then in Leeds, Liverpool and Manchester, probably about 45 hotel contracts all went through my mum. First of all, you got the volume of people. Okay, so English weddings are 100, maybe 60 for the wedding breakfast and 120 at nighttime for the buffet. But then you've got like 700 people, maybe 1,000 people. When we did Omer Khan's wedding, it was 3,000 people. So, you know, we deal in volume. So just to see 700 people would shock someone anyway, right? So you've got the volume of people. Then you've got the food. Now, your kitchens or our kitchens, you know, our British kitchens are not tailored to cook our food. So we're having to bring different kitchen equipment in and heat up 700 lamb legs. Like, it's not a joke, right? Because that's what we need to do. So you've got this whole infrastructure that goes on behind the food. Then you've got the drinks. Obviously, the Muslims don't drink, so it's just soft drinks. But the Indians, the Hindus do drink. So then you've got to bring a bar in and they don't want to pay corkage for the whiskey or whatever. So you've got a lot of cultural differences. So you're squashing in what really belongs in a field in India somewhere or in Pakistan, where you've got food stations and a big space and the whole village comes and eats. You're squashing that into a ball and shoving it into a 5-star hotel, which it's trying to push out everywhere and it's just not working correctly. So we had to devise ways of making that happen in hotel rooms, because the great thing is for the hotel, on a Sunday, they're dead. So if they could get 3, 4, 5, 6, £10,000 on a Sunday and do nothing, they're happy days for them, because it's a dead day. It's not a wedding day. It's not a corporate day. It was the Asian wedding day and a Jewish day, to be honest, because Jewish weddings were on a similar day. So they loved this outdoor catering thing that happened on a Sunday. Just for the venue itself, it's just that particular occasion. So it might be like the wedding and the wedding reception. But literally like a week before that, there are umpteen amount of ceremonies that need to take place to get there on the Saturday or the Sunday. Yeah. So we have the Mendi parties, we have the Haldi parties, and then we have like, you know, the Chura parties, and there's lots of different individual events that take place all week that builds up to the main wedding reception. And then they'd go and do it all again, because that might be the boys' side, and then the girls' side will go the week later. So it's really complicated in the way that you've got to look at the culture and the background and where they come from and how they do their wedding. But it's all different, but it's all got a similar pattern to it, where there's a load of events and one big one at the end. The most important part about organising somebody's wedding or an event or a party is listening to the brief. And I've said this 100 times, you've got to listen. So they're you know, the bride, let's talk about a bride and groom. Doesn't matter, creed, colour, whatever, you know, Japanese, English, Russian, whatever they are. They are getting married, so they're in love and they want to celebrate that particular day with their nearest and dearest, their family and friends, okay? So, and they're going to have some sort of religious ceremony or binding ceremony on that day, which says that they're going to be married for the rest of their life. It's a massive step for someone, okay? They're in love and they're going to get married. So they've made that decision. But oh my God, it's probably one of the hardest things that they go through. And it's really challenging for bride and grooms also. And it tests their love also sometimes, just to go through the whole ceremony thing and put the whole thing together. So my job is to try and make that as easy as possible. What we want to try and do is take that beautiful bride and groom in. You guys are in love. How do you want your wedding to go? So it's we're basically then trying to take all the pressures away from them and put that wedding together for them from their brief. We have celebrities, but they're far and few between. we generally deal with entrepreneurs in the UK and CEOs, and they rule the roost, and they will tell their daughter or their son how they expect their wedding to go, which then now becomes a bit more complicated because I'm not now listening to the brief of the bride and groom, which might be different to what daddy wants or what mummy wants or what the in-laws want. So it gets a little bit complicated. So a lot of the weddings, I've been doing this for 3 decades now. So where we did weddings back in the day at 50, 60 grand, there were gorgeous weddings with marquees at the late 90s. But obviously that's going to escalate, to 200-300 grand as you go through and start putting more production and start having like the sugar babes there and this, that, and the other in like the 2000s. Now, honestly, you can spend so much more money if you want to. And then they've got this destination market. So you can easily go into sort of $500,000 to $1 million. You could even spend, multiple 7 figures on destination weddings. Depends what they want to do and how elaborate they want to do it and where they want to do it. And it costs money to do things, There is a bridezilla, and I think it's quite fun to use that term. And it's just really a stressed bride. She's getting married and she's dreamt about this probably all her life, and she wants it to go according to plan. And she's got this beautiful Disney picture in her head, whatever that might be. It could be a gothic theme, it could be a snow theme, it could be a bohemian theme, whatever it is. But she's got this theme in her head and she wants to try and deliver upon that. Then you've got the person who's paying the bill. And then you've got then you've got like the groom and maybe the groom's father and stuff like that. They're splitting the bill. So it really comes down to who's paying the bill, sort of carries the weight. But then it's for a bridezilla or a groomzilla at that point, if the 2 dads are paying the bill, to put their points forward, to fight their case and say, no, we really want this, or we really don't want that, which is quite interesting too. So where the 2 dads might want so-and-so to turn up from India and sing a song, they're like, we're not into Bollywood, mate. Like my friends are not into Bollywood. We'd rather get, this particular DJ there. We're like, oh, no, what do you want all that English rubbish for? So these cultural differences happen. So the bride and groom have been brought up here in Britain, in the Western society, and have been to lawyer balls or doctors' balls or CEO balls or, Chamber of Commerce balls, where the Indian guys might have spent 50% of their life abroad, come into England as entrepreneurs, started trading in the UK, but still got that Asian mentality or the old school mentality. So you've got this clash of like, sort of modern British couple, although they're brown, but then you've got the dads who have come from India or Africa or Pakistan or whatever, and they're influencing it. So it gets really complicated.
Hi, and welcome to Deep.
We're a brand new channel from the team behind such shows as
Agree to Disagree, Minutes With and The Gap, to name a few.
And now we've launched this new channel to keep telling stories.
And we'd love to hear what you think. So if there's a particular person you want to hear from, a particular theme that you want us to cover, please drop us a comment, and also like and subscribe for more.
We really hope you're enjoying the channel, and if you are, we've just launched a brand new Patreon account with all sorts of extra content.
Early access, extra videos, behind the scenes clips, and even merch. If that sounds good to you, then check out the link in our description.
Thank you, hit that subscribe button, and now back to our story.
Look, these guys and girls, have built businesses up and made a lot of money. They've not built businesses and made a lot of money because they're thick. They remember detail. In their business, they've had attention to detail. In their business, they have excelled in their industry like I have excelled in my industry. They have studied, worked hard, and knew exactly how to deliver upon that. Those business methods and those items that they use to build their business on then gets put into our events business, and they see us exactly the same way. And there are fundamentals in every business that work, like attention to detail. So when you're putting an event together for a CEO, you've really got to have your wits about you, because they are not dummies. They know exactly what they're doing. They know exactly what they want, and they know exactly how it should be executed. And they're paying you a shitload of money to make sure that happens. So you've got to be really careful taking on a 7-digit wedding from a CEO and thinking that you're going to blag it, because you're not. And I've walked around with CEOs and the hosts of these parties, just say a couple of hours before, just to make sure, and they're checking the cutlery, the crockery, the glassware, they're checking menu cards, they're checking table. They're just looking at the ambience, they're checking the lighting and the scene. They know everything. So you just got to be really careful. And I put it out to planners out there that we work really, really hard, planners, where we don't get respected enough for the job that we do. Because when we are doing these large scale events and we've earned them over the 30 years and we deliver upon them, people don't realize how much detail we first of all go into and how much we need to do to make sure it works correctly. But they don't realize the pressure we have from family or pressure we have from the host. So, we've got a crazy client. So 50th birthday in Paris. He wanted to use the Opera Garnier, which is unheard of. You don't do 50th birthday parties in the Opera Garnier, in the Paris Opera House. It's mainly for beautiful events and filming, and the room is insane, and you have to be a billionaire to book it. They're not interested in giving it to anyone. So we applied, we told him who he was. He had to put a huge deposit down, and then we booked the venue. We had honestly boardrooms of 20, 30 French people screaming at each other, and you can't do this and you can't do that. And I had to stop the meeting on many occasions, because I had a translator and say, guys, girls, can you please just calm down a minute? It's my event, my client. I need to know what you're saying. Because if he's telling me that he wants to come out of the cars and he wants red carpet going up the Opera Garnier and he wants security putting out there because they'll all have Rolexes on or whatever, I need to make sure that's happening. And then, honestly, we did this fantastic party. Everything was organized. And three weeks before the event, Sheetal, who's the creative director, my wife, and head of entertainment, just started texting my client saying, it would be fantastic to have an artist there. And don't forget, we're in the most sensitive building in Paris. Chandeliers are probably worth, they're unlimited amount of money, and they shake under the smallest tremor. Oh no, but then they want to get this artist in there, a rock star. And they start bantering at night time, and then they said, yeah, we'll do a deal. We found out this artist is here, and he's free in the middle, and we can fly him in with these 30 crew. And it's Liam Gallagher. So it's oh God, I've got a very, very small after party area with a very beautiful black crystal chandelier. My party is only for 160 guests, so the room's quite tight. So if you put a rock star in the middle of the Opera Garnier with their rider and their stage and their 30 crew and everything else, that it's just not going to happen, okay? But oh no, my client has insisted, and my wife has insisted that, Raj, you can make this happen. You make it happen. So I start speaking to management. Well, they want this, don't they? And they want that, and they want speakers, and they want this, they want that, and they want stacks and stacks and stacks and stacks. I said, you're not catering for 50,000 people. We're catering for 150 people in the most prestigious venue in the world in a tiny little box. What do you not understand about that? Oh, the management said, oh, we won't just throw his mic down if you don't have this and you don't have that. Anyway, got over all that. Did all the private jets, did whatever we needed to do to bring all these people in. And the biggest problem that I had is that the French sound engineers there would not let the decibels go over 90. Now, a drumstick's 105. Liam's voice needs to be over 100, 108, 109, because he needs to hear his voice. If he can't hear his voice on a monitor, obviously with the drumstick being at 105, he's knackered. He's going to throw the mic down and off. And the only solution really was just to pull the machine out when he was singing. And I was like, how am I going to do that? Because they're watching, and they had the French authorities there, and everyone was really nervous about Liam Gallagher coming in. He's never done a gig for 150. He's done a gig for 115,000 probably. So I was like, I'm really in the shit here. Anyway, I've just been through the whole event. It's all gone really, really swimmingly well. He's downstairs now getting smashed on brandy. A brandy bottle that wasn't on his rider, by the way. And then we had to go and buy it for him from the Peninsula at €400. He had 2 of them. I remember my daughter running out and getting one. So he's getting smashed downstairs. The show's at 11 o'clock, and then he's walking up the stairs. The sound thing's still connected. So I'm like, I'm knackered here. I've got to pull that lead. So then he's walking along. I remember, because it was a surprise. No one knew he was there. He was going to make a surprise in, blah, blah, blah. And we're all Manchester people, so it's a massive thing for us, to get one of our guys from Manchester in Paris. And he's walking along, and then I had a radio and a radio of my tech, and I said to this girl, I said, my coordinates, you're gonna have to pull that plug. He goes, but they're here. I said, you're gonna have to pull that plug. Just go around the back, just pull the plug slowly, and set the decibel meter as if it runs anyway on 90, and fix it. And she goes, oh, Raj, I really don't think I can do that. I said, you need to pull that plug. And I remember saying it 3 times to her, and then the third time I said, pull the plug right now, because he's walking in, and she did. And he went on. But what they were all scared about was this beautiful $1 zillion chandelier shaking and coming down. So that's the risk that I had to take to have Liam Gallagher on stage. I got away with it, right? I got away with it. And honestly, I got so smashed after his set because I said, just once those drums went off and his guitars went off and the speakers were off and everyone had loved it and it was fantastic and the DJ was on at 90 decibels, I was done. It was the scariest moment of my life. We're at the Burj Khalifa, and I don't think the client even knows this now, so I don't know, hopefully they don't listen to it. And then we had, there's a terraced area outside where all the fountains are, and the fountains go off, and you have the light going up the Burj Khalifa, and it was a beautiful wedding reception. We built like a catwalk, like a cross with a central thing, and then 4 lots of tables. Stunning. Like, Dubai's not seen anything like it. Did this, it was 2019 in March, and then but while we were setting this up, we had the back-to-back wedding, with the wedding going on in the hotel itself, and then we shipped everyone down. And then as I arrived out on site around 5 o'clock, we had guests arriving at 7. We had these like tripods, really, huge trees coming out of a circle of a table. We had about 6 of them out of about 30 tables. And there were huge, like maybe 10-foot high trees, like really, really huge things. With these raw tie and things, and that went straight into the table and onto the floor. But when you go down to the Burj Khalifa and where the terraced areas and the fountains are, there's a bit of a whirlwind that happens in the buildings. So we sort of realized that then, about 5 o'clock, it was a bit shaky, a bit wavy. I walked in at about 5:15, just finished the wedding, got the guests ready. You go and get ready now. I'll see you down at Burj Khalifa now, about half an hour away. 300 guests. So I'm down there. All my team have been setting everything up. Looks absolutely fabulous. We had these mirrored polo mints built with this tree thing. Set it all up, cutlery, crockery done. Armani's the hotel, and they did the catering. So it was super, super cool. Like, they did an amazing dinner for us and stuff. And then I was just walking away because we built a nightclub we had Craig David there doing the DJing set, and it was a surprise after party, and we built it inside Armani because at 11 o'clock at night in most places in the world, you need to close music outside and you go in and you build a club. So we just set that up. He was on his rider, and he's very chilled, man. He was very cool as an artist. And I just was walking towards the nightclub, and then I heard this almighty crash. Like, my heart just sunk. I could just hear it. Just went, whoosh. I heard glass breaking. I heard something falling really, really heavy. And then I turned around, and I saw a swarm of people running to one of these tables, but this massive tree that we had built had fallen, the wind had taken it and just went straight down, straight over the table, broke all the mirror, broke all the glass, and went all over the place. As we were running towards that, then another one went on the other side, straight again. So we're like, oh, fuck. Like, we've got an hour and a half now before guests arrive. I can't replace mirror. Went over to it. We looked at the infrastructure of this pole. We managed to get some sandbags. There was only 4 or 5 of them anyway. We couldn't replace the mirror, so we just got rid of it quickly and just left the tablecloth there, set it all back up again. And I was that scared, like I was with the sound engineer. I was that scared that I hired 5 guys and I paid them $250 each to sit under the table and hold it for me throughout the dinner, because there's nothing I could do. It's like, well, I can't sit there during dinner with a few sandbags again, thinking that the wind's not going to pull it over. So the decoration company's never done this before. They just made these elaborate stands for us. We're 30 years traded, and we still learn from stuff. It's really hard what we do. Like, we're not in the top 5 most stressful jobs in the world for a reason. We're there for a reason. We were in south of France, Marquis, Chateau de Napoli, I think, Indian guy, but he was basically French. Irish groom, very, very funny family. Fantastic wedding it was, a couple hundred people. Sat there under this whole thing, got Porto Chabot again, the same caterers from Paris, as we're going through dinner. So we're in this old castle, so you need generators, as you guys well know when you're moving around. So we've got generators in, so first course goes out very swimmingly. We're supposed to serve the lamb as our main course, then speeches. And then just as we're coming towards the end of starters, the operator, the maitre d', says, "Excuse me, I need to talk to you." I thought, here we go. What do you want, son? And he goes, the generators have gone down and the ovens are off and the lamb is cold. So I said, give me 2 minutes. I said, how long? He goes, to get the generators back up and running, To replace it's going to take me about an hour. So instead of serving main course in 15 minutes, it's going to be about an hour. Okay, leave it with me. Went over to speak to the bride's dad. I said, hi, how are you doing? He goes, yeah, fine. He said, oh, Raj, it's fantastic. You're loving it. I said, yeah, no, it's gorgeous, isn't it? The weather worked out for us. What a great party. I was just thinking, I said, we just had canapes. We just had starters. I said, I was just thinking that I'm not sure whether I want to drop the main course straight away. Should we get the speeches out of the way now? And he goes, what, do you think so? I said, yeah, I think we'll just liven it up a little bit, give some of them a comfort break, let them go to the toilet, let's have your speeches, get them out of the way. You can get drunk after mains then, and he's like, great idea, let's just do that. It's like, right. So this guy then, because I've got at least 40 minutes worth of speeches, gave them all a comfort break. They all went off. So, ladies and gents, please we're going to have some fantastic speeches when you get back, blah, blah, blah. In they went, had the comfort break, came back, did the speeches, ovens are back on. 45 minutes, but an hour and 15 minutes later, lamb's being served to the table. Bingo. So I think we've sort of implemented one recent request, to be honest. I think it's really important to have the guest experience. And I think it's all well and good decorating and making these things look fab. But I think music and entertainment, we basically run it like the five senses. And we run the whole event like a movie. We go into scene one, which might be the drinks reception. So what are they drinking? What are the canapes are they eating? So we think about what they're smelling. Is there a really nice smell that's quite cool for that particular theme or whatever? What are they hearing? So what does the music sound like? Who's singing? What instruments are there? What are they seeing? Visually needs to look good. So those sort of five senses, then you really need to add the X factor, which is like the guest experience. What's going to make that drinks reception for 90 minutes fun for them? Listening to gorgeous music, drinking Dom Perignon, having the finest of canapes, and talking to people that you generally talk to probably all the time. What's going to tick your box? Okay, so you've got to think of things out of the box a little bit to make that particular scene entertaining. And then you go through each scene like that and work out what you're dropping into these scenes to give the guest experience the best time. So when they leave, they say, oh my God, that was amazing. Again, what we don't like to do is turn our events into concerts. We did a very big Pakistani wedding at the Dorchester, 18 or 19. And my host, my client, he basically brought in the whole of the Bollywood scene. And we had this guy called Karan Johal, who was the host. And I mean, the stars that were there were insane. Like you would never see these people because they're, Bollywood, Indian Bollywood's like massive. It's 1 billion people that love these people. They're pretty famous, right? So they were there, but the influence of the bride and groom was more on them. The guests were more interested in trying to get a photo with them, trying to see what they're doing or what are they eating, how are they behaving. And the poor bride and groom are sat there. And I remember speaking to the bride on the day and she goes, this is just like a show. Like this is my wedding and this is going on, and then you had the ex-Pakistani prime minister on one side. It was a bit too much. So you've got to be really careful to balance these things and you need to choose the right artist. So I think back in the day, we had like Sugar Babes or we had like Alexander Burke from X. X Factor was quite a good feeder for us because we got like artists at the right price who wanted to go onto events and earn a bit of cash. So we used the X Factor thing quite a bit, which was really useful to us. But we've also then realized that we can't have superstars there because it influences the whole event. It becomes like a concert and everyone's just got their phones out on the dance floor instead of enjoying and dancing to the music. Weather can trash events, and I know you might turn up on a really beautiful sunny day at your venue and you think you can have this drinks reception outside, but please, 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 please have contingency. If it rains on that day, where are you going to shift your drinks reception to or your dinner to or your wedding ceremony? Just literally 2 weeks ago, we're in Greece, 5-day event. The final wedding reception was supposed to be outside. We built it in this gorgeous car park because we didn't have the full facilities indoor to do this. And as we're building it on the day before, then we realized there's a thunderstorm coming and it's going to be a complete washout. So we had a beach party during the day and then we had a wedding reception at night and the trussing had gone up, the lighting had gone up, the band were going to go and rehearse in the morning and we literally had to move the whole thing inside this golf club. It was an absolute mission. So I'm not just talking about moving an event inside, I'm talking about changing the table structure. So when the bride and groom have worked out that there's 20 people on a long table and we've got 10 tables and suddenly I'm going into 4s and 6s and they had to change their table plan overnight, it was a nightmare. Just be realistic with, your expectations against money. You know, things are very, very expensive nowadays. Things have gone up nowadays as well. So, you know, once you've got your food and beverage out of the way and you know what your venue costs you, then you've got all your ancillaries like flowers and balloons or entertainment or DJs and things. I think, you know, I know it's really hard to do a budget planner, and I understand that, but some people then end up going towards their wedding and overspending. No, there's something. This is this kind of job that you'll never give up, because, and I was explaining this. It doesn't matter whether they spend $5 million with you or £50,000 with you. The event's the event, and it's really important to you and in your heart. And you want to deliver for your client, whether it's a bride and groom or, you know, or a birthday girl or a birthday guy. Like, it's really important. So when you're in, you're all in. And it's not about the money and the spend. It's about delivering upon that event and making sure that the guests have a memorable experience, making sure the bride and groom have a memorable experience. They only have photo and video things left at the end of the day. That's it. They've gone through the whole event and they've got photo and video left, and they take that home and they probably relive it a few times. But we want the guests in 5 years' time to say, you know what, that wedding was amazing and I loved the way you did this and it was so much fun and everything was at ease. But it's the appreciation or the hug that you get at the end of the night after the first dance, and the bride's father or a family member or the person who paid your bill comes up to you and gives you a massive hug and says, Raj, you know what, you nailed that. And it went beyond expectation. Now you give value for something like that, for someone who spent that kind of money, and that person's giving you a hug at the end of the night. That is euphoria. To try and get that feeling from any other type of business or any other activity is very, very difficult. And that's the drug. That's the drug. That's why you pick up sick off the floor, and that's why you mop floors, and that's why you run around with generators and try and plug things in and just drive yourself fucking mad to deliver upon that event because of that hug. It's the euphoria that you get at the end. You think, I've done that. It's amazing. I feel quite emotional talking about it, actually. But you get that feeling.